Greetings, guys. Welcome to another episode of CEO Chatter Live. I'm your hostess, the award winning publisher and editor in chief of Swagger Magazine, Fancy. And today I have a very special guest with us. I'm very excited because they have a really big event coming up, and I just want you all to know all about it so that you all can come out and support. Or at least maybe watch it online as we're sharing updates about it. But if you can come out and support, that would be even bigger, even greater, I guess you would say. So I'm really excited to bring the guest on. Remember, CEO Chatter Live is where business and life intersect. So not all the time does a guest wear the title of CEO, but they might still be in a position whereas they have to make a lot of decisions. And I feel like oftentimes our life can maybe play a part in those decisions or have an impact on them. And then everything just kind of, to me, comes full circle as a CEO. I don't know if everybody feels that way, but I don't feel like business and life are totally separate. And that's just my belief, of course, to each his own. But that's how I see things. And that's kind of how I operate as a CEO. So today I will be having as a special guest, Darlene Williams. Darlene is the president of the Black Authors Festival. But just to give you all a little bit more about her background, I'm going to go ahead on and tell you more about her, and then I'm going to bring her on in just a second. So Darlene Williams is an award-winning businesswoman, adjunct lecturer, best-selling author, and nationally recognized youth and literacy advocate. She serves as president of the acclaimed Black Authors Festival, ranked by USA Today as one of the top new festivals in the nation. Under her visionary leadership, the festival honors distinguished Black authors while championing literacy, free speech, and anti-censorship efforts in marginalized communities. A five-time author and mentor to nearly 50 emerging women writers, Darlene is the founder of the Higher Level Method, a premier personal and professional development firm. Through this platform, she has produced transformative books and curricula featuring powerhouse contributors such as WNBA legend Kim Hampton, fashion icon Claire Summers, celebrity fitness expert Casey Duke, and beloved actress Bernadette Stanis. Beyond publishing, Darlene is a formidable force in advocacy and education. She has developed youth-centered curricula used across New York City juvenile detention facilities and co-leads initiatives focused on literacy, equity, juvenile justice reform, and First Amendment protections. She is currently working alongside New York State elected officials to draft legislation aimed at preserving free expression and fighting book censorship across the country. Darlene is also the founder of Mama Lean's Herbal Remedies, a wellness company committed to creating high-quality natural herbal products. Through workshops and personalized consultations, she and her team address the root causes of clients' health concerns before recommending custom formulated herbal supplements. She holds a Master's of Professional Studies (MPS) degree from Stony Brook University, is a certified life coach, and a Harvard certified, and I struggle with this word, I looked it up, rhetorician, blending academic rigor with real world impact. So, without further ado, let me go ahead on and bring Darlene in for you guys to meet and learn all about what she's doing. Greetings.
Hello, how are you?
I am so good today. It's Friday. I'm excited. We got the festival coming up soon. Well, we got two
Yes,
weekends to go. So I'm very excited. How are you doing?
I am, as I say, under the gun.
I
I
know
am
what that's
under
like.
the gun. Yes.
Yeah.
So we're in crunch time right now. And yeah, everything is going great so far. And hopefully it will continue to go great.
Well, I hope so. I know what it's like with event planning. We have an event coming up soon as well, but ours is virtual. But still, there's still a lot of moving parts that takes place, and especially when you have other people involved and all the communication and all that stuff. So I'm certain that that is a lot. Um,
Right.
okay, well, just to kind of get right into things, then, I have some questions, a few questions about the festival, but I also got some questions about Darlene
Okay.
because I want to know who she is too, who is the woman that has
Okay.
put all this together. So, the Black Artists Festival has quickly become a nationally recognized event. What inspired you to create it, and how has it evolved since its inception?
Well, I was inspired because I'm an avid reader. Um, I I've been reading ever since I was extremely young. And I just feel that, it's an old cliche, reading is fundamental, but it really is, right? Because through reading, you're able to, it's a passport, if you will, a passport that doesn't expire. It doesn't need to be stamped every 10 years. And it's a passport that no one can take from you, right? It gives you the ability to travel. It gives you the ability to get to know people. It gives you the ability to grow as an individual. So I think that it's extremely important. And I just wanted to celebrate that. And I wanted to celebrate it in a way that we acknowledge other authors, but also use it as a tool, as a fundraiser, so that we can provide resources for those in marginalized communities to be able to amplify the importance of reading so that they don't have to remain in marginalized situations. Now, in terms of the growth every year, I had not honestly anticipated the rapid growth. So each year it gets bigger, it gets better, and it has its own personality. So that is something that is truly God ordained, because that was not what I had figured into the equation when I first started this.
Wow. And that's a beautiful thing, because I know so many of us try to host events. We've even hosted events before in the past, and just you never know how it's going to go, so to
Right,
have that support, for it to be growing every year, that really says a lot about what you're producing, that says that it is something that is of quality. If people are not only attending, but then also telling others, and other people are taking interest. So I think that that's a really beautiful thing. So I do believe you have something that is really special. And um I was gonna say, well, I have questions, but just
okay.
as you were saying this, it just kind of made me think. As you being since you mentioned being an avid reader, I'm a pretty avid reader myself. So I was curious, do you always read Black authors, or do you? Because I went for a really long time where I read nothing but like business books, and I got away from my Black authors, and so lately I've been tapping back into Black authors, and it has been so interesting to me. It's like I love my other selections or other literature, but just being able to, when it's a Black author, it's just kind of a different feel to me. Would you agree, or do you feel like you
No,
see
I absolutely agree. I read everything.
that?
Um, I read everything, and because I like to know, right? And I feel like the more you know, the more you grow.
Hmm.
But I have to tell you, you are absolutely right. When you read Black authors, it's like a homecoming, if you will, because there are always so many similarities that we can relate to, right?
Hmm.
There may be some things that are different. They may live a different type of lifestyle overall, but there's always some intersectionality of the Black experience,
Right.
right? Because there is just something that is innate within our culture that we all experience, and it's unspoken.
Yeah. That's a great way of putting it. And I also want to circle back and just say I love how you said that reading is like a passport, because I just think that's a great comparison, because for me, growing up as a child, I was oftentimes a loner. So books were my friends,
Right,
and that is how I really learned about the world. I learned so much from books. And so to hear someone say that, I'm like, you know what, that makes a lot of sense, because right now I'm in the process of getting a passport. But before then, all the traveling I had really done was through books, through
right.
the works of writers. So I really love that a lot.
Thank you.
So the theme of this year's festival is the power of literacy. What does that phrase mean to you personally, especially in today's climate?
So I came up with that theme because of my husband. He was born to a teenage mom in a marginalized community, and he was just as involved at a very young age. And at some point, while he was incarcerated, he realized that he didn't know how to read. He was illiterate. And he decided that he wanted to teach himself how to read, and he did. He wound up earning his GED. He then began to tutor other inmates and help them learn how to read and help them to obtain their GEDs as well. So when he came out, he decided, you know what, I want to go to college. He enrolled in college. He discovered that there's this thing called a master's degree. and he enrolled for his master's degree and graduated with the distinction of summa cum laude.
Wow.
After that, he went on to become an adjunct lecturer. He wrote a book. He's a chaplain. He is a filmmaker of 3 independent shorts, one which was nominated for an HBO ABFF award, and he has curricula in all of the juvenile justice facilities across New York City, including Rikers. And this May, he graduated with his second master's of social work. This one is in social work. His first one was in communications from Columbia University.
Wow.
So when I think of that, when we revert back to the word passport, right? That has been his passport to get him to where he is now. And we just want young people to know, and we want all people to know, that it's not specific to him. So
Right.
that is the power of literacy. He went from being illiterate to now being an Ivy League graduate, and the first one in the family to graduate Ivy League.
Wow, that is so wonderful. And it's funny because I teach ELA. That's my 9 to 5.
Okay.
And I feel like when I was growing up, and I've even read this recently, when I was growing up, literacy was just basically being able to read and write,
Right.
and like now there's the comprehension and there's so many other aspects of it that I never realized. And I've been teaching for 2 years, but until I read that recently in one of my textbooks for a class that I'm taking, I did not understand it because I was just looking at it one way. So literacy has really evolved, but then it's also, I guess, so alarming when, especially working within the school system and seeing how many students struggle with reading or with comprehension, and just knowing that it's not just within my school system, but also across the country. It's kind of across the board. So I think what you're doing is like really powerful because it's putting literacy at the forefront, and I don't think we talk enough about it. But
Right.
um, and then there's also as an ELA teacher, I hear the phrase equity and literacy more and more because I was actually on the equity committee this year. I just happened to get placed on it, but I really struggled with trying to understand it in some sense. And there was an image that they showed us at one point, and I was able to kind of grasp the concept then. And it was kind of, you may have seen this image. It was like a little boy standing on a man's shoulders. At first, he's trying to see the baseball game or something. Then he's standing on he's on the man's shoulders and he can kind of see the game. And I cannot remember what that third image is, but when I saw it, that's kind of like when it clicked. But how would you personally define equity and literacy, and what does it look like in real life?
So that's one of the things I wanted to touch on when you were talking about comprehension in schools, right? That is what sets marginalized schools apart and make them different from those who are not in marginalized communities. So I remember when I was raising my son, and folks were saying, oh, he's so smart, you should put him in gifted and talented classes. I raised him in Brooklyn for his formidable years. And when I went around to research these talented and gifted programs, I realized that those talented and gifted programs were basic education out on Long Island, where I grew up.
Wow.
So when I hear you say comprehension has been around for a long time, and it's been attached to reading. It's just that there are certain areas where that is not mentioned, and students are not exposed to it. So they come out behind their counterparts who are learning how to comprehend. Because, many times people say, oh, let's communicate, because communication is the key. No, it's not. Effective communication is the key, because if I'm saying something and you don't understand and you can't comprehend, then we're not going to make any headway because you don't understand what I'm saying. It's like I'm speaking a different language and you're speaking a different language. So this is why we do what we do, because it's imperative that we get into the trenches of the marginalized communities to let our students know that reading is not enough. Comprehension has to go hand in hand with it.
Right. And that is that, I think that's a really great point, especially for me, like because I'm originally from the South, and then when I came here to Maryland, it was, and of course I've been out of school for over 20 years, but it was just like a really big difference for me, you know, and just like the lessons, what the students were learning, all of that just seems so very different. I know, of course, it's supposed to evolve over time, but it just seems so different from the type of curriculum that we had in the South. You know, I really feel like
Right.
there's a difference, even a difference in between, because my students, I mean, not my students, but my kids went to school in the South, you know. So just, I'm like, I don't recall them ever learning about this or going over that, you know. And so I find it to be really interesting. And I don't know if there's ever been any studies, but to me, I really feel like there has to be some type of difference. Of course, with the geography of everything, there's going to be a difference, but it just seems to be something else. I would think everybody's on the common
Right.
core curriculum or whatever, but something just seems different to me. So,
Well, there is, and
but
that's
well,
why they have the regions. Hmm.
no, I'm
They have
saying
New York State. Uh-huh.
you can go. I'm
Go
sorry, I'm
ahead.
trying to let you. No, you can go.
Oh no, that's okay. In New York State, and I don't know if it's true now. That's something I have to look into. But I know at one point New York State was the only state in the country that gave the Regents exam for in order for you to, at one point you could elect to take the Regents exam. Now they've made it mandatory for you to be able to pass the Regents exam in order to get your diploma, because it's supposed to be a set apart where you are able to graduate and be on a certain level in terms of reading, writing, arithmetic, you know, all of the basics.
Mm-hmm.
But now that the IEP has come in, what has happened is many of our students in marginalized communities are being pushed off to get their IEPs, because now that sets them apart for being behind as opposed to being able to be on the equal playing field.
So, and I want to make sure I'm understanding correctly, because I have dealt with students with IEPs. So you're saying it's almost kind of like they're, I'm not gonna say, but the only way I know how to say it is almost as if they're using the IEP so that they don't have to pass the test, because it's kind of like, because they have the IEP, then it's just understood they're already behind, but that's just kind of how it's supposed to be. Is that what you're saying?
Right. Right. But and people with IEPs can excel. I've seen them excel, right? With the right support in place.
Mm-hmm.
But many of them do not have the right support. So they are automatically judged and placed into a certain category that makes them appear as less than.
Wow. That's really interesting, and it's so funny. Who would think we would be on here today talking about IEPs? But I
Right.
think especially for our audience, because you know so many people are parents. Many of them have kids who do have IEPs, and they need to know these things, you know, and they need to know how
Right.
the system is working and just how their child might be being treated or being placed and different things, and there might be other things that they can do about that. So
Right.
that's really interesting. So, well, going back to the festival, uh, this year's Black Artists Festival includes panels, film screenings, and even a civic proclamation. What part of this year's lineup are you most excited about, and why do you think it's important for our community right now?
Ooh. I am most excited that we are doing a land dedication to the indigenous people. I'm most excited that we, for the first time, have a youth author, because I think that youth are our future and
Mhm.
they have so much to lend, and many times their voices are silenced. And the youth author that we have she is a phenomenal young lady, 14 years old, and she's already a superstar. I'm excited that we have a fine arts exhibit by another young lady who is a art major at Cornell University, Paloma Hostin. She is the daughter of Sonny Hostin. So I'm excited about it all, but it really warms my heart to know that we have gotten young people involved and showcasing them to show that they are important, because I think in today's society we don't give our young people enough credit for
Mhm.
the work that they're doing and their contributions. So if I had to say that, that's one of the things, those are a few of the things that I am most excited about.
Wow. And your passion for the youth really shines through. Like you can really see that you're passionate about that. And I'm glad that someone is, because I think that's a
Thank
really
you.
great point. We don't give the youth enough attention. And I do oftentimes feel like, we as grown people can be like, we're adults. We don't have to listen to you, or
Right.
what you're saying is not of importance, it's not of relevance. And that's not always true because these kids are really intelligent. They may not be intelligent in the same sense of how we think of, I guess you say, book smarts, but they have all types of gifts and talents. And a lot of them really they are further advanced than adults, themselves. But I don't think we give them enough space. They don't have enough space to actually show that, so I love the fact that you are incorporating the youth into the event. So you're not just amplifying voices, you're actively shaping policy. Can you share more about your work with New York State elected officials to combat book bans and censorship?
Yes. So, excuse me, I'm working closely with some elected officials on the East End to, excuse me, to really work toward. New Jersey has been the first state to issue legislation against banning books. I am hopeful that New York can be the second state. So I have reached out to Governor Hochul's office as
Mhm.
well as a freshman assembly person, um, Assembly member Tommy John Schiavone, who this is his first year. He took over for Assembly member Fred Thiel, and actually former Assembly member Fred Thiel included me in his transitional report so
Mhm.
that excuse me, so that I could meet the current assembly member and we could further the work. And he is a former educator, so he is definitely involved with the banning of books because his love for education. And it's not an easy feat, but I'm hopeful that we will be able to get something on the books to ban book banning, because if not, what will happen is we run the risk of reverting back to slavery,
Mhm.
because reading, not being able to read, I should say, was one of the tenets of slavery. And, I've had some folks who have said, well, Darlene, that's not realistic. Well, we thought the same thing about Roe v. Wade. And look what has happened,
Mhm.
right? We thought the same thing about uh, deportation, and look what's happening. So this is something that we need to really be serious about and hunker down to make some changes and put something on the books so that we have rights. Because most of the books that are being banned are Black books, from children's books to adult books and everything in between. And the other component of this is that there are so many of our people who do not even know about book banning, and they do not know the severity of book banning.
Mhm.
And it starts in the schools and the libraries. They are taking books out of libraries, they're taking books out of schools, and they are being real serious about saying, your children cannot read these kinds of books in school and in libraries, and they're making them hard to order and to have access to.
Yeah.
And that's a direct infringement upon our First Amendment right.
Well, I don't know much about the amendments, but I know the basics of them. And so I understand what you're saying. And I just think, um, I know for me initially, when I first began to hear about the book bans, I didn't really grasp the concept of them, like or what they could possibly lead to.
Mm-hmm.
But then as I began to like really read more into it, then I was like, this is really a serious subject, because I think people just think, oh, it's books. And we know how hard it is to get books into people's hands a lot of the times, or for them to actually open the book.
Right.
But to realize that type of, for me, I guess it's kind of like as a writer and as an artist, that's kind of what shocked me the most, like that your book could be banned, that it could be considered
Right.
something that is not appropriate, or because I read, like you mentioned earlier, I kind of read some of everything too, and I
Right.
just literally, if it's words on it, I'm gonna read it. So
Right.
to be able to hear that, oh, this is, you can't read this, that's kind of shocking. But it's kind of funny too, because we're even seeing more of that type of stuff taking place in the different movies and stuff that we're watching. Like, they're talking more about it. So I think the conversation is starting to get more notice.
Right.
So I applaud you on your work
Thank you.
with the officials, because that really, yeah, I think that really is needed. I wish it was somebody doing the same in Maryland. I hope it's somebody doing something similar.
Well, listen, let's talk offline about how we can bring it to Maryland. I'm willing to do, like, we're excuse me, we're looking to do this across the country because Florida has it the worst.
Yeah. That's who I
And
was mostly hearing about it with.
yeah, I mean, they're burning books. And let me say this, burning books and book banning is nothing new. Folks have been burning books and banning books since the 1600s. What's different now is that there's a real concentration on Black books. And what they're saying is that these books contain information that's hard for their children to digest. So if it's hard for your children to read it and to digest it, imagine the children that it's happening to.
Wow.
So these are just our stories. So for someone to work to try to erase us and silence our voices, that, we have to say no to that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because we have the right, the freedom to read, but we have the freedom to write. And that is why the Black Authors Festival is so important, because we will not sit on the sidelines and watch someone try to silence our voices, because that's erasure.
Right.
And we will not be erased. We're not going, first of all, we can't be erased, right? Because when we start talking about, and not to go on another topic, but when we start talking about that, everyone who experiences freedoms in this country, they experience it on the backs of Black folks and the work that we have done over the many, many countless years through the civil rights movement, right? Because when they said they didn't want us to integrate in their schools, it wasn't only Black people. It was Latina and Latino. It was Asian people. It was Indian people. It was everybody. They just wanted it to be them in those schools and in those places. So let's be very clear. So if we silence our voices, we silence the voices of multiple people through reading, through writing, through other mediums. So it's important that people know. And I tell people it's the Black Authors Festival because we are the ones that are targeted the most. But this is a festival for all people. But Black people have to come together because we have the highest rates of illiteracy.
Yeah.
But when we peel back those layers, it's our men that have the highest rates of illiteracy, because Black women are the most educated demographic in the country. So if we're the most educated demographic, then that leaves our men.
Yeah. And then that just makes me think about how we're always talking about something with the magazine is the disconnect between the Black man and the Black woman. And if there's education is playing a part in that, from the sounds of things, if we're leaving them behind in that sense. So that's something
as well as crime, because statistics show that when illiteracy rates are up, so is crime.
And that makes sense.
But it also makes sense that there would be a tie-in to keep us illiterate, because then that keeps us with the crime rates up, and then that keeps money in folks' pockets.
Yep. And then the prison's full. So
right.
it makes sense. So I have one last question.
Okay.
And this one is about Darlene. So with all your hats, author, educator, entrepreneur, advocate, how would you describe your swagger? What do you think makes Darlene Williams unique in this?
What makes me have swag is God. God gives me swag. And I know that to be true because of what he's placed on my heart to do and how we've had an outpouring of support for it. So I can't take all of the credit. I definitely have to give him the credit for blessing me. So I think that when he blesses you, you have the ultimate swag. And I give him the glory because that's where it belongs. So that's what gives me swag. Yes.
I love it. And I totally agree with all of that. And it just made me think like with the success of the festival, it almost makes me think of how on that, I don't know if that was from the movie, but they're always saying, if you build it, they will come. So you build something and they're coming. And that's a really beautiful thing. Like you should kudos
Yes.
to you,
Thank you so much. We ask folks get their tickets. Come on out. It's a party with a purpose. We do a lot of work, but we have a lot of fun. Like we have a live band, we have a DJ. There's going to be an all-white after party, some delicious food, and it's we're just going to have a great time. And it's on the Atlantic Ocean with a beautiful sunset. The view is awesome. You see a bunch of yachts that outline the water, and come on out, have an amazing time. Folks are still talking about the first Black Authors Festival. They're talking about it from last year. So we're going to keep that momentum going. We're going to have folks talking about it year after year after year. And also I want to mention, thank you so much. We have you as one of our red carpet hosts. I'm so looking forward to that. So yeah, we have an amazing lineup, and I'm excited.
As you should be. You're doing a great job. I commend you for all of it. I'm really
Thank
looking
you.
forward to everything. And I'm looking forward to this view too. I've only been to New York once. And so I
Oh,
really was only there about 48 hours because I was there like for a meta
okay.
event. So I'm like, yeah, let me see what this is gonna be like. I'm really looking forward to this trip. Oh, and I see just to acknowledge
Yes.
some comments. Ty said hello. I don't know if you know Ty, but just in case if you do. Hey
Oh, I
Ty.
don't. Hi, Ty.
Okay. That's you never know. Like we have people
Hopefully,
on that's watching. But
yeah. Hopefully, we'll
I
see you out in Sag Harbor, Ty.
yes, do come out, Ty, so we can meet you. And guys, the link to the festival is scrolling across the bottom of the screen. That's www.blackarthursfestival.com. You all can go there, see who all is going to be in attendance, get your tickets, learn about the different activations or the in the lineup. And I really think we're gonna have a good time. So the date is because I know there's some pre-events also. So I'm gonna let you give the date details, Darlene.
Okay. So the festival is held on Saturday, August 2nd. So hurry up. This event sells out every year. I expect nothing different than for this year. But August 2nd, we're going to have everything. We have the film screening. Excuse me. We have the VIP that opens at 2 p.m. and starts at 3. General admission registration opens at 4 and the program begins at 5. Like I said, we have the DJ, an all white after party. And I should mention that the film screening will be on the lawn. So it's going to be outside, weather permitting. If not, we'll take it inside, but weather permitting, we're going to have movies under the stars. So
Oh,
come on out, get your tickets. And, for those of you who don't want to come to the actual festival, you can get tickets for the all white party, or you can get your separate movie tickets. But if you get your VIP tickets, all of that is included. So come on out. We have a decadent dessert bar this year that is sponsored, and we have some great treats. And listen, if you don't come, you're going to miss out because it's going to be awesome. I'm also happy to say the awards just came today, and they are absolutely beautiful.
oh,
And actually, if we have a moment, can I show the award? Would you
sure.
like?
I was just thinking if I said maybe she don't want to show them. Yeah, you can
Oh,
show
no.
them.
Can you bring me an award, please? They are absolutely beautiful. And I'm so proud of them because they were created specifically for the festival, so that they are standalones and they're standout awards that I think that the honorees would be proud of. So they're the Sankofa bird.
Oh, that is so pretty.
And you see, this is Don Lemon's award.
Okay. I'm looking
So
forward to seeing him.
yeah, he's such a great guy. So it says the 2025 Black Authors Festival, he is receiving the Influencer Award, presented to Don Lemon, like a circle, the pursuit of preeminence has no end. We pay homage to your commitment to Black excellence.
I love it.
So yeah,
It's
that was
gonna
my
be
show.
really good. Yeah, it's like it's the green screen kind of messing up, but we're gonna see it though, and I'm gonna be there to capture all of it. So yeah.
Yes, and your co-host will be Mia Hall. She is another amazing woman. So, and our host and hostess are Ariane LeBeau. She is a news anchor and Emmy award-winning news
Mhm.
anchor here at Pix 11, and Shannon Lanier, who is another award-winning media personality, but also he is an actor in one of Tyler Perry's films, Duplicity,
I saw
and
that.
he's a fatherhood influencer. But also, he is going to be our auctioneer for our fundraiser, the paddle raise that we're having. So you all come on out. We have a bunch of things lined up.
Yes, y'all do. Please come out. Tell a friend. Share the broadcast. I'll be sharing. This will be going up on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If anybody's looking to catch the replay or you just want to listen and don't watch. But also, we're going to be sharing coverage at the event, so you all can also tune in that day, and we'll be having live updates and everything there as well. So thank you so much, Darlene. I
Thank
greatly
you.
appreciate you taking the time out, showing us the award. We done got an exclusive, as Ty said, and she's also said beautiful about the award too, because it does look really nice. That is going to
Thank
be,
you.
I think, something they'll really enjoy having and putting on display, because it's all about like getting it further media. So you want people taking pictures with the award and showing it off on their social media
Absolutely.
so they can learn about the festival too.
Last year it made Tamron Hall's Tam Cam. She was so
Really?
happy about it. She Tam Cammed it because she was like, "Oh, this award." So yeah.
Okay. And hey there, Patricia. I see you are tuned in too. Thank you for tuning in. But we're about to go ahead on and close up, guys. Darlene, is there anything else you want to add or plug?
Nope, just get your tickets, and thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you, and I look forward to a spectacular festival.
All right, we're looking forward to. So, guys, that is August 2nd in Sag Harbor, New York. So, we're going to go ahead on and close out. Peace and blessings. And I'll catch you all again next week. We'll have another guest coming up. So, peace and blessings, and y'all have a great weekend.